infinity stones at your fingertips for effective practice, the Thanos snap. We all know about the marvelous infinity stones, which possesses tremendous amount of power when wielded. Similarly, in ophthalmology, we have 6 infinity gadgets: Google Chrome, fundus photography, visual fields, lens star, optical coherence tomography, and corneal topography. When all these infinity tools are wielded together, one enhances the functionality of the other, serving as a great asset in patient management. When every infinity stone is interconnected itself in the gauntlet, the power of one enhances the other, thus making the one who wears it omnipotent. Similarly, when all the gadgets are interconnected to the PC desktop through LAN interconnectivity, they give the user, that is us, every possible investigative data of the patient at our fingertip. Initiating the gadgets begins by clicking on their icon before examining the patient. Clicking in the Google can open the search engine, which powers the EMR linked to it, where the patient's case sheet is attached. Then the eye suit is opened, where the visual fields and the lens star can be visualized, followed by initiation of the optical coherence tomography by clicking on the icon and priming its database. Then the fundus photography icon is clicked and its data set display confirms its priming. Lastly, the corneal topography is wielded, initiation of which is quite similar to the previous applications. Let us see how a progressive primary open-angle glaucoma patient has been evaluated with the gauntlet. A fundus photograph is done and both eyes are compared with one another, and if a red-free filter is needed to view the retinal nerve fiber layer, it can also be used. The visual fields are opened simultaneously side by side, and the progression of the superior arcuate scotoma in shape and depth in the left eye is beautifully documented. Similarly, in the right eye, the subtle progression can also be visualized. Moving on to a case of bilateral optic pit with CSR. In both the eyes, the fundus reveals an optic pit with collection of subretinal fluid in the macular region. Always the cup disc ratio is measured first before going on to evaluate the macula. When the macular region is visualized, there is a collection of subretinal fluid noted. Different filters can be used as per convenience. When the OCT imaging is open, the cross-sectional image gives the collection of fluid under the retina, and side-by-side comparison can be made with the fundus picture. Moving on to the right eye, the cross-sectional image on the OCT reveals an even greater amount of subretinal fluid accumulation than the left eye, suggesting immediate treatment. Visual field progression analysis of a POAG patient can also be evaluated, and the optic disc changes can be compared with the field changes. In this progression analysis chart, the change in mean defect, square root of loss variance, diffuse defect, and local defect can all be seen simultaneously, provided the patient has underwent a minimum of 3 visual fields before in a different timeline. The left eye and the right eye can be compared simultaneously with the help of a comparison table, and the patient's progression analysis can be documented. Similarly, the chart that we want to see, be it the grayscale, the comparisons, the corrected comparisons, the defect curve, the cluster analysis, or the polar analysis, can be specifically selected. The fundus picture of the same patient can be opened simultaneously, and the visual field can be compared with it side by side. Superior notching in the disc corresponds to the superior polar fiber loss in the polar analysis chart. Similarly, the inferior NRR can be compared with the inferior pole in the polar analysis chart. Moving on to the next case of a keratoconus patient. This is the fundus photograph of the patient, revealing that in the left eye there is a localized blurring of the image inferiorly due to the localized coning of the cornea. This patient was already diagnosed with left eye keratoconus. Corneal topography of the right eye revealed a form frustae keratoconus. The left eye topography was evident of a keratoconus requiring C3R at the earliest. In the lens star, we have the K reading, the anterior chamber depth, the axial length, followed by the lens thickness, central corneal thickness, and the retinal thickness. Then we have the flat K and the steep K, followed by the pupillary diameter and the white to white measurement. All these parameters of the lens star can be visualized at our PC desktop in the OPD when the patient is simultaneously undergoing the investigative examination. All the results can be transferred to the patient by the means of a soft copy, which will serve them better for their future reference. The transfer can be made through Bluetooth directly from the machine or through an hospital-based app where the medical records, the investigations, the prescriptions all will be attached to the patient's smartphone so that the patient will always have their e-record with them wherever they go. Also, the prescriptions can be managed as they are added at the hospital base from the server to the mobile, which is very patient friendly. All it takes extra is a good internet connection and a smartphone gadget from the patient's side, which is nowadays not difficult to find. LAN interconnectivity has an edge over EMR and other company softwares. This is because the dynamic facilities available in an equipment like Zoom, selection of customized visual field chart for viewing, and side-by-side zoomed comparative examination is not possible with EMR. The benefits of interconnectivity through LAN are that the paper can be saved as we are going the softer way. Doctors can avoid their walking time to the machine to interpret the data and can save time, and we can explain to the patient by showing their own image, which is a very effective practice pattern for counseling. So, the I am Iron Man effect can also be experienced by us ophthalmologists by wielding our infinity stone by interconnecting them through LAN for effective practice. Thank you.